So this is a demonstration of the Medit i900 Classic scanner. This is a wired scanner and it uses a USB-C cable to plug directly into a laptop or a MacBook. Here we're using a MacBook Pro. We're going to start on the patient dashboard. When you log into the Medit Link account, it will take you here anyway. And in the top right, you've got buttons to add a new patient, or you can add a new case. If we click new case, this will then ask us to select patient. If we start typing a patient name, it will allow us to select from an existing patient, or if we haven't got the patient created, it will automatically create that patient for us. We can also adjust the case name and add a signee, which is your dentist name, so you can track who has done that scan through the process. We'll then bring up our prescription form or digital lab ticket. Here we can select which tooth or teeth we were working on, select what we're doing, method, material, and then shade. Once that's selected, we can click save and go to the top right again to click scan. This will then load up our scanning software. We'll have a little checklist appear on screen that will tell us to check that the mirror is clean, that we have no strong external light, which is just your overhead chair light, and that the scanning area is as dry as possible. You also want to keep the scanning tip appropriate distance from the teeth, so within about 10mm is fine. All we need to do now is single press the blue button on the scanner and it will clear that screen, single press again and it will start scanning. We want to scan the occlusal surface first, then we can roll over and scan lingual, buccal or palatal if we're doing the upper arch. Once that's scanned, we then have the option to review that scan, rotate the image, zoom in and out, make sure we go back and fill in any of the missing data gaps in the images. In the top right, you have showing the scanner speed. This scanner scans at 70 frames per second, so you can see it's very quick and smooth scanning. Once that's complete, we can move on to the next stage by press and hold the blue button, and then we can do a scan again, scanning the occlusal surface, roll over, lingual or buccal. Once that's complete, we can also check our scan using this button on the right hand side, which will give us the option to look at it in reliability mode, which gives us these colours. This will show any areas of data that is either missing or needs improvement, and we can just rescan those areas. This scanner also has a remote control function where you can use the scanner as a mouse. When you double press the blue button, it will go into this mode. We can then rotate the model. We can also zoom in and out and click on anything we want to on the screen. Once we've done that, we can now move on to the occlusal stage. Again, press and hold the blue button on the scanner and it will take us through to that stage. So once we're in the occlusal mode, we can then scan the occlusion. We're just going to take a reference from one side by scanning in a zigzag motion to ensure we capture that. Once it shows bright green, that's captured. We can then press and hold the blue button on the scanner to do the same for the opposite side. Once that's captured, we now have a complete scan and we can click the tick button at the top to complete the scan. This will give you three options to process the data. So you've got process data exactly as you scanned it, process using AI to fill in any major holes, and also create a 3D printable model. For the majority of cases, you're going to need to use the first or second option. So this one, we're going to use AI to fill those holes. Once we've collected that, it will then process the data and take us back to the patient screen where we were before. On this screen, it's now going to process the data. This can take up to a minute, just depending on your internet speed. Once this is processed, you'll be able to click File Viewer and view the file and review it before sending it to the lab. To send this scan to the lab, we want to go to the order button in the top right. This will then bring up our order form. We can select which lab we want to send it to, our delivery date, and then we can also add in any additional notes we want to send. Click send or order at the bottom, and this will then ask you to confirm before sending it to the lab. Once you've selected that, it will then show in our order box. This will show all orders that have been placed with the labs, where they've been sent, and any other information, including the scan itself. And that is a demonstration of the Medit i900 Classic.